Hello, everyone. Welcome to my bold and the beautiful gossip channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Before we dive into today's content, make sure to hit that subscribe button and show some love by giving this video a thumbs up. The bold and the beautiful spoilers recap for Wednesday, October 30, uncovers that Taylor Hayes had some sure heart refreshes for Edge Forrester. Dr. Effortlessness Buckingham preferred where her numbers were going and was satisfied over her work with Chandra the Healer. In the meantime, Brooke Logan got Carter Walton in one more close second with Trust Logan. However, at that point, Carter advanced toward the president's office. Despite the fact that Carter constrained Edge for a response about the worldwide extravagance brand development plans, Edge couldn't give him one yet. Steffi Forrester and Eric Forrester had something to do with this, so Edge could let Carter know that they'd pursue a choice soon. Back with Trust, she conversed with Brooke about Steffi taking steps to expect the future on the off chance that she went too far with John Finnegan once more. Brooke expected Steffi didn't need to stress over that any longer now that Trust was keen on Carter. At the Precipitous house, Steffi vented to Finn about the contention at the workplace and how unusual it was for Carter to turn into Trust's greatest boss. According to Steffi's viewpoint, it seemed like expectation had gotten into Carter's head some way or another. Finn guaranteed Steffi of his help and proposed they could leave basically everything stressed behind when they returned home to one another consistently. With respect to Trust and the likelihood that she'd go too far once more, Finn didn't think Steffi needed to stress over that. When Steffi left for Forrester Manifestations on Wednesday's B&B episode, Finn saw that she'd failed to remember her tablet and chosen to take it to her. In the plant office, Trust streaked back to a discussion with Carter about displaying underwear, so she went behind the changing screen to take a stab at something scanty on. Finn showed up and pushed something over as he attempted to leave a note for Steffi about her tablet. Trust expected Carter was back, so she advised him to lock the entryway and arose half-dressed. Unexpectedly, Trust stumbled and fell on top of Finn, which nailed him down on the work area. Steffi strolled in and went nuts as she yelled for desire to get off her significant other at the present time. The bold and the beautiful spoilers say this misconception will lead to significant issues at Forrester Manifestations, so stay with us for additional expectations on the aftermath and all the insane news to come. The bold and the beautiful Tuesday, October 29 recap. Carter gets Steffi undermining Trust. Edge recruits Ivy and Elektra. The striking and the wonderful spoilers recap for Tuesday, October 29, uncovers that Brooke Logan assisted Carter Walton and Trust Logan with covering with Steffi Forrester in the plant office. Steffi continued requesting to realize what was happening, yet Brooke said they were simply discussing the previous gathering and Carter's development plans. Steffi behaved like Carter's thoughts were excessively aggressive to turn into a reality and eventually cautioned him to be cautious with Trust. After Steffi said she wouldn't be astounded in the event that Trust was just sponsorship Carter to keep her line alive, Brooke was outraged and contemplated whether Steffi really figured Trust would stoop so low. Steffi obviously felt that, however, Carter demanded he upheld expectation for the future since he had faith in it. After Steffi indicated about Edge Forrester and Eric Forrester believing Carter's arrangement was a difficult task, she encouraged him to converse with her dad and granddad himself. Steffi at last pushed briefly alone with Trust and asked her what was the deal with Carter since his unexpected protection of her line didn't make any sense. Somewhere else, Carter delivered a discourse to Brooke about how Trust couldn't have ever to scrutinize his devotion. There could never be a day when Trust didn't have Carter's help. Back with Steffi, she kept barbecuing Trust about the weird Carter circumstance. Trust contended they were simply companions and associates prior to safeguarding Carter's extravagance image pitch. Steffi inquired as to whether Trust had faith in Carter as a result of his large thoughts or to get expectation for the future off the hacking block. Trust demanded she'd never exploit Carter, yet Steffi countered that she exploited Thomas Forrester by involving him as a bounce back. Trust likewise pursued John Finnegan, so Steffi yelled about that and clarified that the main explanation Trust's line was alive was a direct result of her. Once more, on the off chance that Trust went too far, she was finished, as was potential for what's to come. Carter heard Steffi compromising expectation and burst in as he pronounced that was sufficient. After Carter proposed Steffi was manhandling her power as chief, he cautioned her to quit compromising the Logans and begin valuing their commitments. Steffi listened to Carter, yet she'd eventually demanded she was as yet his chief, and that he'd been doing a few problematic things of late. Shielding Trust and Brooke wasn't improving the situation, taking everything into account. After Steffi by caution desired to avoid Finn, she walked out. Carter let Trust know that Steffi was way off the mark and that he would not represent it. In spite of the fact that Trust encouraged Carter not to get in that frame of mind of this, Carter demanded it was past the point of no return and that he implied it when he said he had her covered. Trust appeared to be contacted, as Carter said he'd constantly be there to shield her. In the president's office, Eric let Edge know that it felt abnormal conflicting with Carter. However, this pitch simply wasn't appropriate for Forrester manifestations. When Ivy Forrester showed up with Electra, Forrester Edge encouraged them to make their pitch notwithstanding Steffi's dismissal. Edge was dazzled with Ivy's portfolio, so Ivy conceded she thought Steffi was allowing private matters to cloud her judgment. After Edge concluded resuscitating the Gems line was really smart, Eric sincerely concurred. Ivy and Electra celebrated as Eric proposed it was pleasant having additional Forresters around, since this was the means by which you constructed a heritage. Concerning Steffi, Edge consented to converse with her and get her energetic about restoring the adornments line, all things considered. Next, on Tuesday's B&B episode, Brooke found Edge, who affirmed he believed Ivy should restore the adornments line with Electra as her colleague. Brooke inquired as to whether Edge could advise Steffi to stop with every one of the dangers while he was busy. When Brooke whined about Steffi taking steps to cut Trust's line once more and letting her contempt for Trust influence her judgment, the subject of Finn came up. Brooke guaranteed Edge that he didn't need to stress, since Trust was not generally keen on Finn. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers expressed that expectation and Carter's sentiment makes certain to cause a lot of show as this storyline moves along, so we'll pass along forecasts on all the unrest and horrendous news ahead. Edge was dazzled with Ivy's portfolio, so Ivy conceded she thought Steffi was allowing private matters to cloud her judgment. After Edge concluded resuscitating the Gems line was really smart, Eric sincerely concurred. Ivy and Electra celebrated as Eric proposed it was pleasant having additional Forresters around, since this was the means by which you constructed the heritage. Concerning Steffi, Edge consented to converse with her and get her energetic about restoring the adornments line, all things considered. Next, on Tuesday's B&B episode, Brooke found Edge, who affirmed he believed Ivy should restore the adornments line with Electra as her colleague. Brooke inquired as to whether Edge could advise Steffi to stop with every one of the dangers while he was busy. When Brooke whined about Steffi taking steps to cut Trust's line once more and letting her contempt for Trust influence her judgment, the subject of Finn came up. Brooke guaranteed Edge that he didn't need to stress, since Trust was not generally keen on Finn. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers expressed that expectation and Carter's sentiment makes certain to cause a lot of show as this storyline moves along, so we'll pass along forecasts on all the unrest and horrendous news ahead. Ridge decided reviving the jewelry line was a good idea. Eric wholeheartedly agreed. Ivy and Electra celebrated as Eric suggested it was nice having extra Forresters around, since this was how you built a legacy. As for Steffi, Ridge agreed to talk to her and get her on board with reviving the jewelry line. After all, Next on Tuesday's B&B episode, Brooke caught up with Ridge, who confirmed he wanted Ivy to revive the jewelry line with Electra as her assistant. Brooke asked if Ridge could tell Steffi to stop with all the threats while he was at it. Once Brooke complained about Steffi threatening to cut Hope's line again and letting her disdain for Hope affect her judgment, the topic of Finn came up. Brooke assured Ridge that he didn't have to worry since Hope was no longer interested in Finn. The bold and the beautiful spoilers state that Hope and Carter's romance is sure to cause plenty of drama as this storyline moves along, so we'll pass along predictions on all the turmoil and terrible news ahead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates.